to briefly discuss a tactic with you that is a preferred tactic of covert narcissists, and is their use of something called the word salad. What's the difference? Well, the way that I've simplified it is that the overt narcissist thinks that they're awesome and that they deserve special treatment, and generally speaking the world agrees with them. They have enough people in external reality to say, yes, yes, you are awesome, we should all do what you say, that it satisfies them that they can afford to be overt. The covert narcissist thinks that they're amazing, but generally speaking, the world does not agree with them. What does this create in what is fundamentally a narcissist? Well, it means that where the overt feels confident because they have a secure source of narcissistic supply, the covert is in a constant state of desperately and frantically trying to hold on fleeting little bits of pieces of contrived narcissistic supply that are always running out. They have to be more manipulative in order to get what they want. So manipulation is as natural and normal for them as just breathing would be. And so use of techniques like the word salad become more frequent. It's all psychic. The state that they're coming from, the core state that they're coming from, is vulnerability. So when you're saying, this is why in the literature, especially in the older literature on narcissism, it wasn't called covert narcissism. Literature usually refers to a fragile narcissist or a vulnerable narcissist, where there will be many ostentatious displays of vulnerability. I'm such a victim, I'm so weak, I would never do the thing that I just completely, totally did. It's playing out a lot as the personality disorder is being disseminated through the culture. You will see this happening a lot. You'll find people, you've seen it in the news in the last 6 months, being caught red-handed doing something, and then in their defense saying, I would never do that. They just stole somebody else's chocolate milkshake, they guzzled it down, they still have the chocolate around their lips and dripping down their chin, and they get caught, and they're like, how do you defend yourself? And they go, what? Steal the chocolate milkshake? I would never do that. It's on your face right now. I would never steal somebody's chocolate milkshake. I'd never do that. It's a splitting away from the shameful act. So the covert or fragile or vulnerable narcissist actually feels a ton of shame. They're constantly living in shame for their grandiose fantasies. They're like, I have these grandiose fantasies, and then the inner critic is inflamed and goes, you fool, you don't deserve those things. Look at yourself. You're so blah, 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 blah. And then their state goes down and they feel like, so they're constantly doing this. What about the word salad? Word salad is when you just spew a series of words that actually don't really connect to each other within the context of the speaker's own sentence or paragraph, nor do they connect with the question or the conversation that led them to come to that. Where does it come from? It's actually a psychiatric term, and it was used to define the way people who'd been diagnosed with schizophrenia would sometimes speak. They would speak sentences and they were clearly trying to express themselves, but the brain couldn't process and apply a proper syntax. So they're trying to speak, and what comes out is just dissociated little clips and bits of phrases about different things, and it's just garbage. It doesn't mean anything. You get like a sequence of words that is about the subject, that clearly is around the question that you've asked or is appropriate to that sequence in the conversation, but it really isn't answering anything and it's really not saying anything. Let the healing comments. What are the two advantages for the covert narcissist for using word salad? Number one, it can make it seem as though you are answering the question whilst you are not. So the flow of any conversation, or indeed interrogation, would be you speak, I speak, you speak, I speak. So you speak, we're in perhaps an argument over something dreadful I've done. You speak, I speak, you speak, I speak. You say something, you ask me a question, perhaps it's something I can't answer, or you make a point that is a solid steel point that I can't argue against. But I can't say nothing because of the way language is formed. If you have the last word, you have won. You've made your point, and I've conceded a defeat, which, whether you're covert or overt, if you're in the narcissistic personality cluster, you can't allow that. And part two has two subsections to it. So I'm a covert narcissist, and I've been asked a question or put in a position where I really know that I'm in the wrong, but I don't want to admit that I'm wrong. One thing I could do is I could use word salad, which is like a sequence of words. So if you say, did you hack into my email account and read my emails, because I have evidence totally here that you completely did. And I go, Well, you know, yes, there are emails, and people use email to talk to each other all the time. So don't make it about whether I looked at them or you looked at them. I mean, all the people you wrote those emails to, they also looked at them when they opened their email address. Don't tell me you've never opened an email before, because I f***ing know you have. So don't come at me with this load of. Sometimes people use letters, and they write those letters with parchment and a bit of ink and a quill, and they send them by ravens. Like in Game of Thrones. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying I'm a White Walker from Game of Thrones? That's not an amazing example of word salad. I made it up. Really? We thought you wrote that beforehand. It's kind of addressing what you said, but it's taking it in a different direction. Now, within that, there's two subsections here. One is, I can control your state and generate confusion. So word salading induces confusion and helplessness, which makes the other person kind of give up. So the two things it can do, one is induce confusion and helplessness. The second thing it can do is the covert narcissist can use word salad for blatant provocation of negative states. If I just use word salad to whatever question you ask me, eventually you'll feel helpless, annoyed, and you'll be give up. Fine, you win, and you'll move on. I could also use word salad to introduce things that trigger things in you. So let's imagine there's a system here. Here's the covert narcissist. Here's their strategy, which is the word salad. And here, right here, is the state that they want you to go into. So they are going to choose the state they want you to go into. Let's say rage, because it's great. If you can get somebody to rage out, well, then they lose the argument. If you can provoke somebody to the point where they're so enraged they fling something at you or at the wall, or they punch something, or they turn around and say something dreadful, something like the most horrible thing they can because you wound them up, that's a good way of winning the argument and having it all closed down. Then all that shame and guilt will be in their state and not in you. So you've won, you've transferred the shame and the guilt. So you can word salad in order to provoke as well. Final point, one thing to look out for with covert narcissism is flip-flopping between 2 or 3 personalities. A covert narcissist, what should you do with a covert narcissist? You won't know until you're in pain. You won't know that you're even in danger until like in June, where you're the good guys from House Atreides, and then House Harkonnen comes up and goes, hey, homie, can I have a hug? And you give them a hug, and then they slip the poison blade in, and you're like, this poison's a bad one, it's worse than the Gom Jabbar, I feel all fiery and agonized and I'm gonna die soon. And that's when you realize that you're in trouble, because they don't come waving a knife at you, like Sting with ginger hair. What? Sting with ginger hair? Yeah, Sting with ginger hair. So covert narcissism is usually something that is dealt with post hoc. You've gone down the road with them already and you're like, oh, you have stolen both my kidneys. I need them. So I want you to be aware of these things. But word salad is a very, very common tactic. So please be aware of it. Watch out for it. Thanks very much for your time and your attention. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Cheerio. That's not how I'm going to start ending videos. Cheerio. That's not a thing. Thank you for your time and your attention. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. That's how